Hi, I'm Lisa Gallo, and I wanted to talk with you about hosting your own book parties, why they should be part of your Usborne Books and More business, and how to successfully host your own events. All right. How many of you are hosting your own events as a regular part of your Usborne Books and More business? If you're not, no worries. Let's talk a little bit more about how you can get started doing that. And if you are, high five, pat on the back for doing so. Who, me? Host? Yes, you. So there's a lot of questions that usually come up when we talk about hosting our own events. And here are some of the common ones. When should I host my own event? Now. As I'm talking, it is early November, and my 7th annual holiday brunch, Books and Bubbly, is in a couple weeks. I always host my event on the Sunday before Thanksgiving, sometimes on Saturday, depends on when the Seahawks play. Anyway, but right now during the fall and the holiday season is the perfect time to be hosting your own event. And then moving forward, I would recommend aiming for once a quarter. That's a really good rule of thumb, especially if you haven't done it regularly. That's kind of a feasible thing to take on and do. Why? Why should we be hosting our own events? Sometimes it seems pretty awkward and weird or selfish. Personally, I started hosting when I first started because I wanted to provide my friends and family, later on my hosts and my loyal customers, a kind of a more intimate chance to shop and do some personal shopping. And then this is kind of as I'm heading out of my busy holiday season, it's a chance for me to sell my inventory, which then makes room for more books, which are coming in January. And then personally, I also host my own events so I can donate my books, the free books earned, to a local nonprofit. Where should I host these parties? If you are able and if you are comfortable, I would consider opening your home. Um, that was something I really wanted to do. It's part of who I am. I love to host things. I love to do things for my friends and family. And so this is an open house style event in my home that I do for a few hours on a Sunday. If that's not a possibility for you, there are other things you could consider. I know some public spaces will allow you to sell, or you could partner up with somebody, a friend of yours maybe, and use their home. But I really like the intimate setting of a home or a house. All right, so is that somewhat convincing? Let's figure out then where to go from there. Shouldn't be surprising to realize that we're going to start kind of thinking of ourselves as our own host and host coaching ourselves as if we would with our other hosts. We're going to start with Frank. Invite Frank. As we know, friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kid connections. My personal list included contacts from preschool and elementary school. My kids are 8 and 10, but we're still in contact with a lot of the families from their preschool. Former colleagues who I used to work with, my group of friends from my girls' night, past hosts, loyal customers, and even some customers that I've met kind of year over year at annual events who I've developed a rapport with. I invite them as well. That list is pretty curated as far as the hosts and customers, but it's pretty awesome. Some other people you might consider inviting would be your spouse's colleagues or grandmas and grandpas and their friends or teachers. As we all know, the list could go on and on. Basically anybody who might have a young reader in their life or who would enjoy shopping for the readers in their lives. All right, so first thing I do is I send out a save the date. I find it's really impactful to personally contact everyone with a really short, casual, sweet message to save the date for my Books and Bubbly, for your event. I just finished sending off over 100 emails, not individually. Most emails I kind of grouped together in their kind of like network groups. And so all the preschool contacts got their email together. My friends from my girls' night got their email together, and so on. I think it's helpful for people to see some of the people that are also invited to your event, especially if it's people that they know. Then maybe it's someone they want to come and see. They can start planning carpools. But I think it's a little bit more personal, and they're more apt to come if they know that there'll be people at the event that they know. Now, there's some people that I did message via Facebook and text. As we tell our hosts, it's really best to communicate and contact with people however you usually do that: text, email, social media, that sort of thing. Lastly, invite, invite, invite. We all know that this is a numbers game. I think my invite list began somewhere around 40 when I was beginning, and now it's up to 100. And that usually ends up being anywhere from, I don't know, 15 to 30 people that come to the event at the end. Follow up. Follow up is equally important. I tell them in the email that I'm going to send a formal evite, and I do. So a week later or so, I send an actual evite or some kind of other online invitational tool. Really, it's mostly for my own head count, so I can see who's coming and prepare for that. But it's also a chance for me to give them more details. In the past couple years, I've invited a dear friend of mine to bring her Stella and Dot jewelry. One year I had a friend bring her Keep Collective jewelry. I don't really often have a lot of other vendors, but if I do, that's a place in the evite for me to mention it. And then that's also where I talk about the book donations that I'll be making. And then after that, I send another follow-up, probably, I don't know, 3 days or so, 2 days or so before the actual event. And that point, I do send one large 100-person plus blind copy email to everyone with the details, literally the who, what, where, when. And I kind of am a little bit tongue-in-cheek, kind of pointing out the fact that maybe it went to their spam or maybe they didn't have a chance to open it, but here's all the details, and I hope that they'll join us. All right, it's party day. I offer food and drink at my parties when I do them because it's usually like brunch time, but again, totally up to you. I sometimes put out a quiche and some fruit, some coffee, that sort of thing. And then I put out all my inventory. When I was first beginning, I only put out some of my inventory and then eventually ended up going back and forth with my office and pulling out more. And my friend finally said to me, you should just bring it all out. So I bring it all out, and that also includes a big bin of scratch and dent books, books that either arrived damaged or books out of my sample collection that are either out of print or that I no longer are using, and I sell those at a discount to my guests. I also take orders on the day of the party, and I personally give them flat shipping, like $3. I have my cash box with me, and I just hand them $3 back. Again, because I wanted to create this kind of more intimate, kind of special VIP type experience of shopping during this time, that's just what I've chosen to do. And if that doesn't work for you, don't feel that you have to. And then lastly, just be festive and have fun. Honestly, this has become one of my favorite events of the year. I look forward to it every year. My friends have begun to look forward to it and know that it was coming. And having it always on the Sunday before Thanksgiving or thereabouts is also really helpful, so they know to plan for it. So it really is a really fun day. Now, so what can you expect? Again, if you haven't been doing parties on your own, why should you do them? And here's some of the results that you can see. Obviously, if you're hosting an in-person party, and most of this that I'm talking about is an in-person party, you're increasing your rapport with customers. It was just last year that I invited some past hosts and customers, and I'd say about a half dozen came, and they really loved coming to my house, seeing all the books and all of it out there, and shopping, and they had a great, great time. Of course, for me, another great thing that comes out of it is I'm able to donate a lot of books, such as this picture here, to the local nonprofit that I support. Of course, it reduces your inventory, which is super helpful. And as I said before, I've probably seen about anywhere from 15 to 25 guests come. Some years it's more, some years it's less. And typically it's between 800 and 1,000 or more in sales, which is great for the bottom line of your business. So I hope this has been helpful and given you some ideas or thoughts, or maybe had you think a little bit more about hosting your own events if you haven't been doing so. But again, it's really simple, it's really rewarding, and quite honestly, you just treat yourself as if you were your own host coach yourself as you do your own hosts, and you'll have a really successful event.